Hey people. So we have this winter storm here in Austin. So I have been home for 2 days now by myself, just hanging. And I just got out of the shower. It's my no makeup look. I was gonna put makeup on, but it's like I can't do that just for a video if I'm not leaving the house. Because now going to bed is so much easier. I don't have to take my makeup off. Okay, so I just had a thought of what I want to talk about in this video, and that is being biracial. I think being biracial it's an interesting experience. It's, different from anyone I know, and there are different types of biracial. And I actually don't have any friends that are the same type of biracial that I am. So yeah, today I'm gonna share that experience with you, and then I'll answer some questions that I know people are probably curious about, but they don't want to ask. So for starters, with being biracial, so my dad moved here from Africa, Liberia specifically, and my mom was born here, but her background is she's German and Irish. So my mom was born with like blonde hair, super blonde hair, and blue eyes. And my dad, being from Liberia, has very dark skin. So much, much darker than mine, much darker than any like African American that you would see. His skin is dark like someone from Africa because he came here from Africa. So you combine that, super white, very white person, my mom gets like red and burnt when she's in the sun, and a very black person, you get something like me, where I'm brown. A lot of people don't understand that. They think I must be 100% black, or they think, okay, I'm African American, so both my parents are black. But if both of my parents were black, like black from Africa, well, my skin would be a lot darker. If both of my parents were African American, so African descendants of slaves, my skin could range, because when it comes to African descendants of slaves, it's likely that there is some white in them because, for example, slave owners, had sex with their slaves and then created babies, which were then part white, part black. And then if that baby went and had kids with a black person or someone else who's part white, part black, it kind of gets blurred what percentage black and white they are. But I actually did some research into this, and one pretty large study I found concluded that the average African American, so someone whose family has been Africans who have been here for a long time, who were slaves at one point, those people now, I guess on average, are gonna be like 75% black, and then 25% probably different European, or this world is wild. There are so many different African blends. So yeah, that's that. As far as I know, I'm 50% African, 50% white. But what's interesting with Liberia is, so Liberia was not colonized. I believe it's one of the few countries in Africa that was not colonized by white people. But what did happen is, I believe at some point in the 1800s, I want to say around like 1865, America gave African slaves, they freed many African slaves, and they gave them the option to either stay in America, where they're not necessarily welcome now, or go back to Africa. And if they went back to Africa, Liberia was the country they went back to. So freed slaves went back to Liberia. So, and then at some point, there was a civil war between the freed African slaves, who are called Americo-Liberians, I believe, and then the actual native Liberians who were never enslaved. So that caused a civil war. The freed slaves won that war, but I guess since that civil war, Liberia has hasn't figured things out. So yeah, that's the background of me. So I grew up with my mom's family almost 100%. So all the family I grew up around, aside from my siblings who are also mixed, are white. And where I went to school was pretty much a 100% white school. And yeah, so that's where I grew up, in the suburbs of Minnesota. Literally all my friends in Minnesota are white, and I love them. But that's just an interesting thing, 100% white. So did I have some identity issues and whatnot? Absolutely. I still kind of like noticed them because moving to Austin, I moved here 5 years ago. Being here was the first time that I've really had Black friends. And actually, so in middle school, I think this, I'm sure that there are others, if you're mixed, who can relate to me. So in elementary school, is primarily just all my friends were white, and I was surrounded by white people. And then I go to middle school, and they actually started busing kids in from the city, from Minneapolis, to my school so they could get a better education. So now in middle school, suddenly there were a lot of other Black people. But a lot of the Black girls thought that I was too white. Like, you know, why do you talk white? Why do you hang out with all the white girls? So I never really became friends with them. I remember often one of them wanted to beat me up, so then all of them are telling me, hey, we're gonna beat you up, but they were also kind of being my friend. So that was interesting. And then in high school, like a lot of the Black boys thought I was cute, but they would also make fun of me. So there was always like this, you know, where do I fit in? But when I moved to Austin, like the experience here has been completely different. I know a lot of people say Austin is not diverse, but coming from the suburbs of Minnesota, for me, Austin is so diverse. And here I have so many Black friends and friends of all different races, ethnicities. And that has been such a refreshing experience for me, and has really allowed me to like kind of discover who I am and really get to know myself better and be me. So that being said, I want to get into some questions. And hair is such a thing, y'all. So growing up, I always wanted straight hair. I would straighten my hair almost every day for school. I remember doing the swimming lesson in middle school, and like I did not want to go swimming because my hair would get wet. If they made me go swimming and my hair got wet, I would spend like an hour or more trying to straighten my hair in the locker room. And then once I graduated high school, I discovered hair relaxers. So at that point, I started relaxing my hair. It wouldn't be completely straight, but it would make it so it was a lot more manageable and just wavy. But I did that to the point that my hair started breaking off. And at one point, a friend told me, like, you know, you have a mullet, and I was mortified. At that point, my mom cut all my hair off. That was about 2 years ago. So if I can find a photo, I'll post it in here. My hair was so short, and that's when I started my natural hair journey. So one question y'all might be wondering is this my real hair? And the answer is hell yeah. And there's absolutely nothing done to it, no chemical treatment, no hair straightening. This is my real hair. There's some gel in it, gel and water. That's all that's in it. Do I ever get a hair weave, or do I ever wear a wig, is a question that I get asked. And for me, the answer is no. I spent so much time not liking my hair, literally hating my curly hair. And now I've gotten to the point where I freaking love it. It's my favorite thing ever, and I just don't want to hide it. I don't want to put fake hair in. Like, I just want this head of hair, and that's why you see me with my hair like this all the time. Another question I get is, oh, why don't you ever put it in braids, 2-strand twist? Why don't you ever do any styles? So my head is sensitive, and it's hard for me to sit for long periods of time. So just the thought of getting my hair braided makes me feel like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that. How can I get through it? My head's gonna hurt. It's just not my vibe. I mean, if I could have it done and it wouldn't hurt my head and I had the patience for it, I would love to have my hair braided. At some point, maybe I will feel inspired to do so, but really it's just I have other things I want to be doing, and I just love my hair like this. I feel so grateful that I have such a great relationship with my hair now. Have I ever had a weave? Yes. In high school, I remember I got one weave and I got made fun of for it by all the like basketball boys. I remember them all just like cracking up in the lunchroom. It's funny how some memories just stay in your head. But I kept it in, and you know, I did my thing and I ended up really enjoying it. And then I got one for a second time. I was like, oh, that first time was fun, let me do it again. And I took it out in less than 24 hours. I remember like my head was just being pulled so tight. And I just had this moment where for me, I was like, I don't want fake hair on my head. I just like being au natural. Yeah, I just like being natural. So that's the hair story. I currently will wash my hair once a week, and I do a whole treatment. So it takes like about an hour, maybe 2 hours total. I'll do shampoo, then a hair mask, and I'll comb it all out in the shower. And then I'll do conditioner. I'll rinse all that out. Then I'll split it into actually 8 sections. I have a lot of hair. So I'll split it into 8 sections, and then I'll put product onto each section. I'll twist it, and then I'll let all 8 sections sit for about an hour while I do my makeup. And then I'll take each section out and put gel in it. And that will keep for about a week. And sometimes if I'm not in the mood to wash my hair after a week, then that's when you'll probably see me wearing a lot of hats, because I'm like, oh, here's an easy little cover up, throw a hat on it. All right, so that's the hair experience. What are some other questions I get asked? Do I wear sunscreen? Yes. Like, I have sensitive skin. Maybe it's that I'm part German and Irish, but my skin definitely burns. When I go out in the Texas sun, sometimes I'll get a heat rash. Like, just because I am black, I am part black, it doesn't make me immune to the sun. I don't think anyone's immune to the sun, but my skin, there are some white people I know that do better in the sun than I do. Do I want to marry someone who's white or black? That doesn't matter to me. I mean, white, black, anything. That doesn't matter. Something that has crossed my head is if I have kids with a white man, then my kids will be 25% black and 75% white. So really, in that situation, the kids are white. I think they would identify as white. Whereas if I had kids with a black man, my kids would be 75% black and 25% white. Yeah, and so on and so forth. If I have kids with a Hispanic man, my kids would be 75% Hispanic, or 50% Hispanic, 25% black, and 25% white. But in the end, no, that doesn't matter. I think it's silly to think, oh, what are my kids? I'm not going to base my man off what my kids are going to be and the experience my kids are going to have. I'm going to base who I marry off of who I love. So yeah, that's that. I definitely it's nice having Black culture around, for sure. I really enjoy that, or any other culture around. I just, it's just it's an added element, and it's so fun. Yeah, when I do go to an African party, what a blast it is. So when I have kids, I always want that to be in their lives. And we'll make our own traditions and whatnot. What other questions? Yeah, I guess for now, those are the ones that are coming to mind. If y'all have any other questions, anything about being biracial that has come to mind for you, let me know. Let a sister know. Yeah, I hope y'all have a wonderful day.